Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna swap these very unsightly old things with some really cool new ones. Before you go any further, make sure you hit like and subscribe, and let's get this thing going. Before we get started, these are the things you're gonna need. First and foremost, you're gonna need some butyl tape. I bought this off of Amazon. It's from Morimoto. They do not sponsor this. However, they've been in the business for a long time. I've used them for several projects over the last 10 years, but I always buy new butyl tape because I always lose the previous one. Also, you're gonna want a screwdriver, straight slot, long. This one's been used for multiple projects. You can tell by looking at all the dried up glue, but you're gonna wanna cover it so you don't break something. These are the resistors. I can't tell you which ones to get. There's VLEDs.com, there's a lot of other places, or these actually came with a kit. The lighting kit that I bought from Timur out of Kazakhstan, Russia, Kazakhstan. You'll know it when you start typing it in. Starts with a K, has an H, S-T-A-N. Kazakhstan. If you don't want to use this, I recommend getting a pry kit. I got this off Amazon as well. Amazon gets a lot of my money. This thing has everything in it from radio removal tools, trim kit, rivet kit. We're actually going to use this to take off some of the stuff off the actual bumper itself, like at the top, the little rivet pops, so you don't have to buy new ones. Comes in handy. As you see, I've used it on quite a few projects. I don't like cleaning my tools. That way I know where I've been. Highly suggest nitrile gloves. This is not to protect your hands from being burned. I say burned because I bake those lights in the oven to peel them apart. Some people do the hot water method. I do the oven method. But this is to prevent getting fingerprints on everything, because there's nothing worse than assembling headlights or taillights and having fingerprints on the inside. For this project, I bought new lenses for my Infiniti. I opted not to reuse the old ones. If you want to reuse the old ones, you certainly can. However, I highly recommend going online and trying to find the new ones. I think I bought these off of eBay, came from Taiwan or somewhere. They can range anywhere from $200 to probably $300 or $400 for a pair. Make sure they're UV coated. Much better than the original headlights, because the original ones, no matter how many times you clean them, eventually get dirty again. Last but not least, you're gonna need these. These are the lights that I bought from overseas. These are very, very, very well made, designed to plug right into the OEM connectors. A lot of R&D went into these, but you're gonna want these. Kind of what they're gonna look like when they're installed. Gonna look pretty cool. Before I can replace the headlights, I really have to take this bumper off. I don't want to take the bumper off. It's a pain in the butt. I've never had to take the bumper off before. So it's going to be a first for me, probably a first for some of you. So you basically start off by removing these clips. There's also 10mm bolts at the top. You also have to remove these. I don't think this should be, I think this is supposed to be a screw. So you have to take these off. And then when you're done, you pull this back. And then behind here, there's another 10mm. Okay, on the bottom of this thing, I think there's supposed to be, I don't know. On the bottom of this thing, you have to remove, I think there's like 10 or 12, or I don't know. I'll put the actual thing on the bottom of the screen. Mine's beat up. I can't claim any of the stuff because I'm probably the 10th owner of this thing. I can't be the only one missing bolts, right? Like on every car I have, I'm missing something. You also have to remove these. I don't think this should be this. I think this is supposed to be a screw. So you have to take these off, and then when you're done, you pull this back, and then behind here, there's another 10mm. Okay, I want you guys to take a look at this. This is one thing that's different from the video that I'm gonna post in the description, so I'm not quite sure what the deal is, I guess. I don't know, maybe his car wasn't put together correctly, but actually down here, see that? There's actually two of those. There's one right here, and there's one right behind it, which you can kind of see it down there. So that's two on both sides. So that's one thing that I found that's different. Also, on the bottom of mine did not have, and you'll see mine does not have 14 bolts. It said there's 14 of those down there, plus 8 more underneath the splash shield. Not sure about that. Mine had 7 or 8. Granted, I was missing a few in a bunch of fender clips. So it could be the difference between the 2009 to 2011 and the 2012 to, I think, 15 or 16 or whatever it is. Whatever it is, I don't have it. That has a different front end. So keep that in mind. This one has 2 extra 10 millis on each side, not just these 2. Okay, now that we got the front bumper off, it's time to get the headlights out. Not quite sure how to do it, but there is a 10 millimeter here, a 10 millimeter up here, and I would imagine there's probably something else over here holding it in. Okay, I was right. There's a bolt here, a 10 millimeter there, and there's also one right here. But it's a little hard to jiggle. It's a little difficult to jiggle out. You have to disconnect every wire. There's wire connectors everywhere, and there's a stubborn one that's connected right here. So I had to use the pliers to kind of squeeze it in and pull it out. That's it. I don't know if I need to leave the wiring harnesses on there or not, because they are designed to hold up to some extreme temperatures, but I might as well. Typically that's what I do, remove all the wiring harnesses off of lights before I put them in the oven. Okay, we have this thing on the table. I moved the operation indoors because it's really hot outside, but along the back of the housing, there are 7 screws. I figured out exactly the 7. There's actually more than 7 screws, but there's 7 screws you have to remove. I looked at the new lens to find out where those holes were. There's also these 3 screws you need to remove from here, because this is the last piece that's technically holding the lens onto the base. I was not able to remove the wiring harnesses. Usually I remove that. Here they're kind of hardwired inside. I did remove all the bulbs except the HID bulb, the main bulb. I can't get to it. It's actually located behind this housing. It's the same thing on every vehicle. I would need to turn this thing counterclockwise. It's really stiff. It's really hard to move. I'd probably need to get a rag or something. But I'm just gonna roll the dice and put it in the oven like this. It should be able to hold up to the temperatures, hopefully. If not, looks like I'll be buying a new HID bulb. Important, for those people who have never changed a headlight before, never changed an HID bulb before, do not touch the bulb. That's why you wanna wear rubber gloves, you wanna wear or some other kind of glove, but do not want the oils of your finger touching the bulb. The bulb will disintegrate as soon as you ignite the bulb. I have the oven set for 270 degrees. Some people say more, some people say less. I'm gonna put it in there at 270 degrees at 7 or 8 minutes, not a minute longer. Like when these things, if they're in the oven too long, they will melt. So I'd rather have it in there too early, pull it out, evaluate it, and put it back in for a few minutes than have it in there too long. I've made that mistake before, not good. Okay guys, just took this thing out of the oven. I don't know how good this is gonna work. At first, I couldn't even get this thing in the oven, and I thought I was gonna have to use a heat gun, but it's best to kind of find an edge and start on an edge. This thing is hot. Okay, I can kind of feel where some of the OEM glue is. Oh shit, that's hot. So we need to find these edges and kind of peel back the tabs, kind of work it around. Found a corner right here, you see that? So if I could pop this corner out. Again, I'm not worried about this OEM, this lens, because I have a full-blown replacement already. Actually, the inside line, you can't really see that, guys. All this right here is the glue. It's black, I can see it, it's pretty good. You never know how easy these headlights are gonna come out until you bake them. But the glue is really soft. So if I can get this corner out, which the corner is kind of tucked, so I may want to bail from the corner and start from the other end. Holy crap, this is hot. We know there's no more screws in the way because we took all those out. So the guy who actually creates these kits, I asked him what he uses, and he uses a hair dryer. I don't know if they don't have heat guns or what, but a hair dryer is always safe. It just takes forever to heat it up. And my concern with using a hair dryer is by the time you get one side hot, the other side is already cold and you gotta pop it back in the oven. There we go. As I kind of work away this area right here. Just using the edge of this plastic kind of cut through the glue. Because we're gonna replace this with the butyl tape. So you actually wanna get as much of this out as possible. You actually don't wanna reuse it. Okay, I finally got this thing apart. It was quite difficult. Be careful. I did I did break a piece. There's a piece that broke off of here. And so we know we don't need it because the new one is the shell plus a different insert. This essentially is the OEM insert, but this piece broke off, and it broke off because it was on the end here. Set that to the side. This comes off. Okay, this comes off. This glass, is this glass? I think it's glass, gotta be careful. That is replaced with this. So you still have the bulb behind it, but you no longer need this bubble. This will still be used. It comes through here. Instructions say to paint this gloss black for that more stealthy look. I guess you could paint it the color of your vehicle. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe I should paint it white. It'd be super cool, but I don't think it would hold up. Like in a few years, it would look like it came from a few years ago instead of came with the vehicle. If I can remove the shroud, great, I could paint it. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to tape off the bulb, which nobody wants to do, and paint the shroud on this. When I get ready to reassemble, I'm gonna take the butyl tape and I'm going to try to, well, first I'm gonna try to clean out as much of this as possible. It's gonna require me to probably use a heat gun to heat it up a little bit, dig that old stuff out, then use the butyl tape, roll it up small. You don't wanna put too much because it'll be impossible to close, but you don't want to put too little, so you have to figure it out. You take your new piece, you put your new piece on it, put the lens on it, you press it together, you put it in the oven. When it comes out of the oven, just like before, you put it in the oven for a little bit, not as long, bring it out of the oven, use clamps to hold it together, put all the screws in, keep it clamped for a few hours maybe. They may stay overnight. I don't have overnight. I actually have a few hours before we have to go somewhere. Guys, don't forget to hit subscribe while you're watching this video for more cool content. But it's time to get this thing painted and get this thing removed and get this thing together. New shirt, new day. Took a little bit longer than I had anticipated. Got a hold of the maker of the item. Super cool. Sent me a bunch of videos, a few more photos, a few more explanations. But this is kind of what this thing looks like. So I tried it on the car earlier. Looks good. Kind of want to talk about the back of this thing really quick. So you run the white DRL wire through and it connects to the green wire on this plug. However, it's the only hardwired connection through this whole thing. So I created a quick release. That way, if I need to take the lights off, put them back on, whatever reason, I can just disconnect it without having to cut a solid connection. If you want to prevent hyperflash, you have to install the resistor. One end goes to the hot of the turn signal. The other goes to any of the other negatives. Here I have it connected to just this random negative down here. All right, let's get this thing on the vehicle. Took a long time to do the first side, but now that I know what I'm doing, the second side should go relatively quick. I finally got it done. It took a lot longer than I expected it to, but again, it was my first time taking the bumper off. Took a while to figure out how to put it back on. Also with the lights, there's a few things. Like first off, I love the lights, but I wish the turn signals were yellow or orange instead of just blinking white. There's also a reflector inside. It looks nice. It'd be nice if it was functional, like you could actually do something with it. But overall, I love these lights. I think they really improve the way the car looks. This 2009 looks like a 2022 something. Now I gotta get that front bumper done, maybe that grille, maybe something else. Guys, if you like what you saw today, hit subscribe, hit the bell notification, and check me out, Hard Parking Podcast, a non-automotive automotive podcast. I'll see you guys next time.
Shut up!